Hello and welcome to the Guardian Football Weekly, the second mailbag. You are the hardcore. We are deep in the limbo between the World Cup and the domestic season returning. As a result, most of the questions you're sending us are about our favourite TV shows and sandwiches. We've waded through them all to find one or two about football, but don't worry, we'll get to whether Vera or the BLT comes out on top in part 3. Hopefully you're listening to this on a beach somewhere after a cocktail or something nice. This is today's Guardian Football Weekly. On the panel today, Barry Glendenning, welcome.
Hello.
Jonathan Wilson, hello.
Morning, how you doing?
Very good. Hello, John Brewin.
Hello there.
And fresh energy, Seb Hutchinson. Hey, Seb.
Hello, how are you?
Yeah, very good. And we are recording this just after we recorded the first mailbag, so this is still just after Argentina knocked England out of the World Cup. You're fresh from the ITV football match. Can you tell us about the controversy? It's 2 weeks after the game happened now, so hopefully you're allowed to.
When this goes out. Okay, so yeah, I've got time. Yeah, Roy won't find out about this. So Roy Keane was nutmegged by Karen Carney. I saw it.
Huge, yeah.
I saw it. Nobody filmed it. Mm-hmm. Karen saying she can't remember who she nutmegged, which doesn't help.
Right.
And Roy said it never happened. But I saw it happen, and I will go to court and testify if I need to.
Fine. And so Roy's in the witness. He's the defendant.
Defending himself.
You're in the witness. He's defending himself. Okay, so he hasn't got... Lord Panic is not doing this one. He's there.
He's not doing this one. Otherwise we'll be waiting 3 years, won't we?
Yeah. Okay, big news for Roy Keane. Here's the first question from Barry Grogan. What's it all about? Life. I mean, do we have a purpose, or are we just a random collection of cells here by luck and evolution? Jonathan Wilson.
No, I think essentially just random. None of it means anything, apart from my paycheck.
Right. Yes, I thought that would come up pretty early. Does anyone have any more existential thoughts on the meaning of life, Barry?
No, I don't have any plans. I just get up, try and get through the day, and hopefully not upset anyone too much. That hasn't always been possible during our stay in the United States, but I tried.
John?
Well, we are a series of chemical reactions, but I believe in emotion, human condition, family and friends.
Right.
Those are the things that are important to me.
This is the first human response we've had so far, which is good.
Yeah, I'm not a man of faith or spirit or anything like that, but yeah, I have an emotional side, and that feels and you know, not as animals have emotions too, but we have an innate sense of fairness and morals, and sometimes that doesn't always go the right way, does it? But and maybe the World Cup is a microcosm of all that.
Seb, you've come on this podcast.
Anyway, thrown to South Korea. It's a bit like that.
Yeah.
Just before John answered that, he was looking out the window, and I was worried for him there. I thought about it. I believe in the circle of life.
Right. Okay.
Essentially, as said by Mufasa in The Lion King. No, not Elton John. Oh, Elton John did write the lyrics, didn't he? Yeah.
Okay.
But I believe in that. I believe that, you know, the antelope eat the grass, and the lions eat the antelope, and then the grass eats the lion when it dies in the soil.
Yeah.
Everything breaks down. We just keep on going. And so the meaningless thing is important in the sense that we're just one drop in this ocean of the universe. A very complex drop, but still just a drop in the whole sense of time. And if I was to go back in time, someone has said to me, go back, 10 minutes in any time. I'd go back just 10 minutes and just have a look at a T-Rex, and that's all. I'll be okay. Yeah. Just to know his arms are as short.
Big fan of Mark Bolan then, I take it, yeah?
Yeah. Yes, the short pit. I mean, he was around... Actually, I won't get into that.
Yeah. It's interesting, like young Ian Rushden, is 4.5, and his obsession is with the solar system and the cosmos and space. And like he has more knowledge of that than I do now. But when you do read about the plan, it's very hard to have this conversation without sounding like you've had your first joint. And actually, I haven't, so Max, that's fine.
Max, that sounds like more the conversation you'd had when you've had a night of joints and you get to the end, and you're stuck with
the stars. Yeah.
No, you're stuck with a bloke talking about the cosmos, and it's like, really, it's time to get a cab home, isn't it?
Oh, I see. It's more like you're lying on the grass, with the girl that you like, looking at the stars, going, "Isn't this amazing?" But genuinely, when he just sort of says, the sun is like, the middle of the sun is 50 million degrees, and the nearest star to the sun is like however many light years, and there are so many other stars, and that this all began out of nothing and has been there forever. But when did forever begin? Then you do start to think, well, I don't know if it means there's a point, but you do start to have a slight existential crisis about what you're doing when you're going, do you think Tieno Barry will get 11 goals this season for Everton? You're like, is this really what I was put these collections of cells to do on this earth?
The comedian Bill Hicks used to do this routine. I just looked it up here as we got talking about this. But he used to complain that there were never any good news stories about drugs on the news, like drug use. It was all negative. And then he would imitate a newsreader and go, "Today, a young man on acid realized that all matter is merely energy condensed to a slow vibration, that we are all one consciousness experiencing itself subjectively. There is no such thing as death. Life is only a dream, and we are the imagination of ourselves. Here's Tom with the weather."
William says, "What's your non-footballing mastermind subject?" Okay, I'll put this out to all of you. So we'll start with Jonathan Wilson. Your name, please.
Jonathan Wilson.
Your specialist subject?
The life and works of Agatha Christie.
One question on the life and works of Agatha Christie. Your time starts now. What is the precise idiosyncratic amount of money that Hercule Poirot famously insists his bank account must always hold? Beep, beep. Jonathan Wilson, you scored 0 with 1 pass. The answer was £444, 4S, 4D. We'll go to you now, Brewin. John Brewin. Your name, please?
That's shillings and pence, Max, yeah?
Fine, yeah.
Okay.
What is your name?
John Brewin.
Your specialist subject?
Manchester music, 1976 to 1991.
John Brewin, one question on Manchester music, 1976 to 1991. Your time starts now. Joy Division made their live debut in 1977 at Manchester's Electric Circus, supporting Buzzcocks, Penetration and John Cooper Clarke. What name were the band using at the time?
Warsaw.
Correct. Well done. John Brewin, you scored 1. Seb, your name?
Seb Hutchinson.
Your specialist subject?
The Hollywood film Jurassic Park.
Oh.
Seb Hutchinson, the Hollywood film Jurassic Park. One question, your time starts now. According to John Hammond's tour introduction, what was his very first attraction?
Oh, it was a flea circus.
Correct. Seb Hutchinson, you scored 1 point. Barry, to you. What is your name?
Barry Glendenning.
Your specialist subject?
The complete works of James Herriot.
I see. You also gave us your... do you have a James Herriot question?
You've thrown Magnus.
Jill?
You've thrown him.
Because you also gave your specialist subject was the specialist subject of other Football Weekly panellists.
My original was the complete works of James Herriot.
Barry Glendenning, the complete works of James Herriot. One question. Your time starts now. What was James Herriot's real given name?
Alf White.
James Alfred White. I will give you that. Correct. Barry Glendenning, you scored 1 point.
My
Yes.
specialist subject incorporates 7 books, 3 different television series, and a couple of movies. Seb's is 1 movie. I think it's
mine's over 100 books.
Yeah, but Jurassic Park is an all-time classic. The others, you could throw.
Have
them
you
away,
been on
can't you?
Celebrity Mastermind, Seb?
No.
I thought, I had a vague bell ringing.
It's one
Robin
of those things
was on.
I'd love to go on, and then I'd shit myself as soon as those lights went out.
But like with,
here's a question, yeah.
Wilson's specialist subject, I would consider myself quite the Hercule Poirot expert, and I didn't know the answer to that either. I had never even heard of that, so it's a very difficult one for Wilson.
No, thank you, Barry. I appreciate your support.
Did anyone know the flea circus?
I didn't. And I
I've
love
never seen
Jurassic Park. Oh,
Never
come
seen
on,
it.
Wilson. Had the question been, what colour are Hercule Poirot's little cells? I'd have got that one. They're grey, everybody, aren't they? Daggles writes, regarding transfer journalists and the gossip pages, is that mainly just guesswork or is it through agents? Do clubs leak information? And if so, why? I understand why agents would, but what do clubs get from it? Seb, you're nodding. What do you know? Do you know?
Agents are responsible for a high proportion of it nowadays, because I think what's changed is because people can set their agendas online, they like to use that as a space. It does help clubs sometimes. Some director of football get involved in it as well, because again, it can help a football club in various ways, because it is just one big commercial space, and that's the thing about it that, I mean, I don't particularly like. I just wait until it's all finished and then make sure I know who's where. But I can see why it feeds people. They get excited because it's the possibility, isn't it? The hope. We could sign this player. We probably won't. And the player we do sign, we're not happy with. And then they might surprise us or let us down.
Yeah, I was going to say there are certain operators out there that I don't have to name to the listeners who certain clubs and agents prefer them to have the story first. That's what I'm told by those who operate in
that's
that
what
space.
Your sources are telling you. Your sources
my
are telling
sources
you that.
are telling me, yeah, and so there is a certain amount of cachet to have that news broken by those particular journalists, and that's often how it works, so that those who have operated in that space and are slightly, I'm not going to say lesser quality, lesser prominence, find themselves a bit annoyed by this at times.
I mean, there's clearly very good people who work in that area. I mean, there's other people who I think do a lot of quid pro quos where they'll do an agent a favour, say by discussing the possibility of a player moving to a club to try and drum up interest, or suggesting that a player's unsettled to try and drum up interest, and their fee, if you like, for doing that is to have the wink tipped. Is that a phrase? When an actual transfer is going through.
I mean, what's interesting about some of them is when you occasionally talk to them, it does sound like they've never seen a football match, and like the end is, the transfer is the end of that is the end of the thing. That is not a means to an end to build a football team. It is just this. It is just sort of human transaction obsession. It's quite strange.
What's the new one is that if your club doesn't sign enough players, there's a problem, forgetting the fact that you already have players at your club.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I mean? So
who might get better.
They've not bought anyone yet.
Yeah. And Nicky makes that really good point, that you sort of see a footballer and you decide how good they are, and you do not countenance the fact that they could get better at football or worse at football, or be put in a different system that might make them play better or worse, or put someone next to them. It's literally just, this is how good a person is. And if you don't spend 80 million on them, they're no good. If this player has been at your club for 3 years, it's not exciting. And we do get carried away with it a bit. I mean, right now, of course, the window will be whirring away. We will, of course, do all the transfer stuff. Once we've found out who's bought who, and we've committed it vaguely to memory, or Barry's put it on his pad of paper, we'll do some previews and talk about those things. We've got live shows, 1st of September at Vicar Street in Dublin, 9th of September, Soho Theatre, Walthamstow. Please go to theguardian.co.uk/Football Weekly Live. The London show is live streamed as well. Watch it wherever you are on Earth, and we'll be back in a second. Welcome to part 2 of the Guardian Football Weekly. Kelly says, Max, Barry, and everyone else, I'd never listened to the podcast before the World Cup. My brother, who is an Arsenal fan, recommended the podcast to me a few weeks ago as I was struggling to keep up with so many games. Since then, I've become a devoted daily listener. Now the World Cup's coming to an end, I've decided to arbitrarily pick a team to watch during the rest of the year, which has the added benefit of helping me follow along with Football Weekly in the future. Which team should I choose? So I guess we're talking Premier League. Seb, who do you think would be the best? Who would be the most enjoyable team to follow in the Premier League?
Enjoyable?
Yeah.
Does football work like that? Enjoyable?
I don't think it does.
Depends. It depends on the stage. So Sunderland would have been enjoyable last season because they were promoted, did better than the fans would have thought, the people thought. So they're on that ride. That's when it's at its best. But then the expectation sets in, and so you're done then, aren't you? I would say. The other problem is, did they say that their partner was an Arsenal fan?
Oh, that's their brother. Right.
a brother is not.
Yeah.
So that will play a part in it. If that's the person you're going to be discussing football with,
So if they're Arsenal, do you take Tottenham?
well, I don't know if that's an antagonistic angle. I don't know if it is because of where the clubs have been recently. So yeah, I would say just off the bat, why don't you go and support Bournemouth, knowing that there's probably a new stadium coming? They'll probably buy a fresh player that nobody else has seen before, and you can go there and you can have the heads up on everybody else, and you can sound really knowledgeable about this player that nobody else has seen. And if you lose a game, nobody's going to bother you about it as well, and you'll be able to relax and enjoy your football.
Good point. Any advances on Bournemouth, Barry?
I was thinking Brighton for much the same reasons Seb has posited Bournemouth. It's a nice club, decent team, good, nice young manager. If they get beaten, you can go into town from the stadium and have a nice fish and chips and a walk along the promenade or out on the pier. And they're probably not going to get relegated. They're probably not going to win anything, but it's nice. It's a nice team.
Yeah. Any advances?
Go on,
Wilson,
complete the set.
John?
Come with the B set. Come on, you see one more B. There's an airport nearby. And a motorway.
As the world's living expert on B teams, it would be remiss of me to I mean, yeah, Bournemouth is the nice one, isn't it? But I suppose they have a new manager. We'll have to see how that goes. That, as we've seen so many times in football, that eventually the formula does break. I hope that doesn't happen to Bournemouth, because I was privileged last season to see them play, I think, the best football in the Premier League, the most exciting. But yeah, although you could, if you really wanted to have soap opera, or you wanted to have enjoyment, or maybe an element of needle, Everton or Spurs, just for that.
What are you doing to people?
But I think something could be interesting.
Foist Everton on someone.
Why not? How dare you, Barry? They are the team of our Prime Minister. Yeah. So you know, and
well, hope it could be, look, by now it's August the 10th. It could be Binface. Who knows?
Well, Binface is presumably a Leyton Orient fan or something like that, but we don't know. But it's I don't know. But imagine being an Everton fan when it actually become good again. It's a bit like being an England fan, you know.
Yeah. Unless you have anything strong to say, Wilson, I'll move on to another question. Yeah, okay. Dino says, "Hi, Max, Barry, and the team. I'm an avid listener from Perth, Western Australia. I was born in the UK. It was lovely to hear about the football fans in the UK struggle with the timings of World Cup matches, as this is something I have to deal with all the time when watching the Premier League. Question for the panel, which is different. How will AI change the way football is reported in the future? Do you use AI when creating your match reports or scripts? Will there come a time when you'll be able to feed in the live broadcast of a football match and create a match report with analysis within seconds? Jonathan Wilson, is your Ronaldo piece AI by now, or is it still from your fair mind?
The only time I've ever used AI, and I'm pretty sure it'd be a sackable offence to the Guardian to use AI, and quite rightly. The only time I've ever used it was I had to write like this awful sort of pitch document for something where I had to sort of make myself sound good, and I spent sort of 2 or 3 hours on it. And you know, blowing my own trumpet's just not my.
You're just too humble, aren't you? You're too humble.
I mean, I obviously I hate to speak of my humility, but they're your words, they're not mine.
Yeah.
But I think humility is one of my defining characteristics. So I got AI to do that, and it was.
Did it make you sound good? Did it make you sound good?
I didn't get. I can't remember what the pitch was for. I didn't get it anyway, so obviously it didn't make me sound that good. But that's the only time I've ever used it. I guess there is a terrifying future when. I mean, like AI clearly. I was replaced at Sports Illustrated by AI. That was galling. After 11 years, didn't even get an email saying thanks very much. Just they stopped replying. They just blanked me. Stopped replying to my emails. So that's an American employee relations for you. But I mean, it's obviously rubbish at the minute. It's totally generic based on a couple of stats. I guess it could get quite good, but I would have thought what you want. And maybe I'm flattering myself here, that what people want is kind of sort of the individual's take on it, the sort of the quirks that you know of that individual, that basically if I'm going to a Portugal game, you're going to get a thing slagging off Ronaldo.
Yeah,
I feel like AI could. That? I reckon there's enough out there that's.
But there are
Have you used it,
AI
Barry?
commentators. I don't want to worry you, say, but do you remember, Max, when we went to South by Southwest, we had to go to this dinner to Glad Hand, some people who worked in AI, and it's very prominent in, say, tennis, golf, Formula One, I think, and there's AI commentary teams. I have no idea whether they're good or not. What I can tell you is that AI is rubbish at football. I've looked things up on AI sometimes. It's basically glorified Google, and the amount of very basic information it gets completely wrong is quite mind-blowing. Just really basic stuff. What players play for what teams, who won last year's FA Cup. Really, really basic stuff. It gets wrong.
Who did win last year's FA Cup, Barry?
Good question.
Flea circus. It was a flea circus.
I just think.
Go on, Barry.
Can
you get it?
The FA Cup.
Can you get it?
Oh God!
I mean,
there's only going to be. It's going to be one of three, isn't it? Probably.
I think I know. I'm like 99% sure, but I don't want to laugh at you too much unless I don't get it. But let's all wait for Barry to get who won the FA Cup.
Who won the? I'm not AI. Just
no, I know you're not AI. I know that.
So I'll give an AI answer. West Ham won last year's FA Cup.
Right. Okay.
Who did
Crystal
win last
Palace.
year's FA Cup? This year's FA
City,
Cup.
Man City.
Palace was the
Man
year
City.
before. It's Man City. Yeah.
But last year is 2025, isn't it?
Oh, I see. Okay. All right. So you are taking it literally as AI. Yeah. I mean, I've never logged into AI, so I don't know. But hopefully it won't replace vanilla.
Well, you have,
posts
Max,
anytime
because
soon.
if you look something up on Google, you get AI answers.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're
It's
using it without knowing it.
Wow.
The thing is,
even worse.
I was going to say that there was that there are occasionally scandals about people writing stuff in AI, and there are AI checkers where you can check whether your work comes out as AI. So I put a match report from Bournemouth or wherever, and it said it was 100% human written. So I was delighted with that. But people, the press conferences, your phone and certain translating machines can do a reasonable job of this. But I think it was a Pep Guardiola press conference that I was at, and Pep with AI was not great. So I was sent a transcript by one of my colleagues and said, has someone actually done this properly? It's actually got like a proper transcript of this. And I just got replies that, no, mate, we're all too lazy now. We just use AI.
Yeah.
So there you go.
So AI struggles with so good. It just can't. It just can't compute of that. Craig says,
Please, you just go to Gemini and go, please patronize Eddie Howe for 500 words.
Craig says, what's the panel's favourite sporting memory that doesn't involve football? Who wants to kick off on that one?
I know that one straight away. Linford Christie's goal in '92, and I'm basing this on the moment at the time.
Okay.
Oh my goodness, I was so happy. I couldn't believe what I was seeing, because it's obviously such a simple sport to understand, the 100 meters.
Mm-hmm.
But it just felt, I remember because I think the year before, maybe 2 years before, there's a World Championship, and all the best runners were in it, and they all went under 10 seconds, an amazing race. And you always felt Linford was the nearly man in that group.
Yeah.
He wasn't quite able to get over
who's
the line.
Carl Lewis, Dennis
Carl
Mitchell,
Lewis, Leroy Burrell was in there.
Frankie Fredericks.
Frankie Fredericks was always second. But I don't think Burrell was in the Olympic final, but Dennis Mitchell was. Frankie Fredericks was. Carl Lewis wasn't at his best. And then the next year, Linford won the World Championship and set a new 9.87 or something, and I'd never seen anyone who wasn't American run that. So I just remember at the time thinking, that's amazing. It was close behind that was just Frank Bruno winning his world title as well against McCall. He was hanging on. Do you remember this? Do you remember this? And he started the fight well, and then the last few rounds, it was just an absolutely knackered man hanging on and just waiting for the bell. And then when the bell went, he was lucky because that title shot came because McCall had beaten Lennox Lewis, who had knocked out Bruno before. So yeah, they're the ones for me. And you always go back to when you're younger, because
sure,
you get
but you know
really
what?
emotional then.
Though, like on athletics, like the 4x4 Chris Akabusi getting
91.
past, is it
Good
Antonio?
shout.
Is it Pettigrew? Is it Antonio?
It was, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Antonio
American has
Pettigrew,
beaten.
Yeah.
It's David Cole.
man.
Oh, here it comes. Oh.
Absolutely, that is an amazing moment. Barry,
Offaly beating Limerick in the 1994 All-Ireland hurling final. I was there at Croke Park, and Offaly were dead and buried, and they scored 2 goals and 6 points in the last 4 minutes to win the game and snatch it from Limerick at the death. And that is my favourite sporting memory, including football. It's just my favourite sporting memory, full stop.
Wilson.
Well, that I've been at, England beating Australia at Trent Bridge in 2005. When I think were they chasing 127 and did their best to mess it up, and then Ashley Giles clubbed a boundary to win it. But I think if you're talking about watching on telly, it's definitely when you're younger, and I would say Faldo holding the putt on the 11th at Augusta, the second playoff hole to beat Ray Floyd in 1990. But that was partly because I was allowed to sit up late and watch the Masters, and it was something me and my dad did every year. So it's partly that as much as Faldo.
On golf, the Constantino Rocca putt, is it the 18th at St Andrews to take it to a playoff, maybe with John Daly? I can't remember, but he's like, it might be 60 feet, it might be 100 feet. I don't know how long the putt is, but he beats the ground. Like when it goes in, he is on the floor beating the ground. It is just an unbelievable, like in terms of golfing moments. Of course, you got all the riding.
Did you say you were there?
Unbelievable.
Were you there?
No.
Oh,
I wasn't there. I just remember watching it on the TV. But that as a single golfing moment, it's unbelievable. John?
I was at the 2005 Ashes. I was on the final day when England claimed it at the Oval, which was a sensational day.
I was there too.
I unfortunately had to do the late shift at work, which probably wasn't my greatest day's work. But Mark Cavendish winning the World Cycling Championship, led in by a British team, a brilliant lead out by friend of the show Bradley Wiggins, absolutely fantastic. Golfing memories, Ryder Cups, and so on. I think.
Medina is amazing. Medina is unbelievable.
Celtic Manor as well, K Club. All these repeated wins, absolutely fantastic.
The Belfry in '85, the first one they won in. However long it was.
Can I correct myself? Leroy Burrell was in the race. I've just seen.
All right.
I've given him a massive disservice. So Joel, make sure you put that in so everybody's aware of our cross viewers. Bruni Surin was in that race as well. And then Ray Stewart, who was the only player, in the '88 Olympics with Ben Johnson. Yeah. Ray Stewart, Jamaican athlete, was the only member of that race who didn't have a drugs charge against them at some point in their career.
Wow.
And I think there's a documentary about that.
I should say that Stokes at Headingley, I was in the park. Jamie had said, we've got to get out of the house. I was sitting in the park and I was holding my phone, watching Stokes at Headingley. And I think, does Nathan Lyon miss a run out? And my hand is shaking. Well, the phone is shaking. And I realize that maybe I shake all the time when I'm watching sport, but I'm not holding the telly. But my hand was like this. And the Edgbaston test, the one where Harmison gets that wicket. A mate of mine had got married the day before, one of the earliest weddings in our friendship group. So we were all our hangovers were unreal, and half of us wanted to. We're in Cornwall in a hotel. We're we'll just watch just 2 wickets and then we'll go back. We'll drive back to London. And obviously that went on for so long, and we were all so sick and hungover, and just the stress of that. And I think Harmy bowls a full toss that one of them, maybe I can't remember, Brett Lee middles, and it goes straight to extra cover. Yeah, it goes straight to extra cover, and you think, if that goes over, we've lost. And then we get the wicket, which shouldn't be a wicket, right? Because his glove's off the bat.
Kasparovic.
I'm in a WhatsApp group with a couple of English guys and several Australians. And the WhatsApp group is called Lion Has Fumbled.
Is it? Amazing moment. That's a great question. And the Searle brothers in the Olympics. The Abinyalis are failing. The Abinyalis are tiring. Come on, Great Britain. Come on, Great Britain.
Can I
Anyway,
give a shout out as well? The final frame between Dennis Taylor and Steve Davis.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
something else.
Yeah, even the final black, like that is just unbelievable moment. All right, that'll do for part 2. Back in a second. Welcome to part 3 of the Guardian Football Weekly. Richard says, since it's pre-season and there's not much to talk about, could you all discuss how you got started in the industry? I'm published twice on Football 365 recently. I'm trying to sneak into the football journalism game. It'd be cool to hear what inspired you guys and what path you took. Oh, well, we could be here for hours talking about ourselves doing this. But Seb, give us a potted 2 minutes.
Mine takes ages. Mine takes because I did running managed to get into running in the BBC when I was about 15, which is younger than I should have been. I shouldn't have been there really. And that gave me a taste of what TV was like. But I wanted to be a commentator from the age of 10. So I was doing a lot of work beforehand. And then when I finished uni, I did a master's in sports journalism just because I just wanted to stay in it. And then things built from there. I had a work placement at a couple of places. I did apply to The Guardian and they turned me down.
Too woke? Were you too woke, Seb?
I think I was before woke. I don't think woke existed then. I think
okay.
I think it was a shit writing probably. And then but then I ended up working in TV as a junior producer, and then ended up as a junior producer at ITV. I'm trying to sub this all down quickly.
Were you doing were you doing sport or were you doing like loose women?
Sport.
Right, okay.
No, when I was a runner, I did all sorts. I did What Not to Wear, Watchdog, Robot Wars when it first started.
Oh, amazing.
Amazing. And that's great because when you do start having that experience is when you're around basically working people is just the most important thing because it takes away that idea of the world is about me, which you have as a young person. You think they're waiting for me to start work and everyone's going to be so happy. And then you just see people who just want to, my shift finishes in 5 minutes, just want to go home or, this sort of stuff, the real world stuff.
The real life, yeah.
And there's no substitute for it.
John?
I trained as a local news journalist, and I've always had great respect for local news journalists because it's quite a hard job, very hard. It's to find a patch to get the stories going, and then thanks to doing work experience, I did work experience at the Press Association, then at the BBC, landed a job at ESPN as a result of that, as a junior member of the team, and it started from there really, and I was there for a very long time. And then thanks to I should say Barry and Barney, straight after leaving ESPN I was on Football Weekly and started working on the desk, thanks to Philip, my gaffer on the desk. So that's it really. I've worked at 2 places for a long time in particular and freelance other places. That's it.
Wilson?
I failed at being an academic. I did a 3-month journalism course and then stumbled into a job on onefootball.com, which was a sort of global football website. It was sort of ahead of its time. It still exists in a very, very, very different form now. And then it thankfully went bankrupt at exactly the right point where I had a bit of experience and some contacts, and I was able to from there to freelance. Got a job at the FT on staff, and that lasted 3 years, and then I've never had a staff job since.
What part of academia did you want to go into?
Well, in retrospect, I don't think I did want to go into it, but it was just sort of the path I was on. So I was accepted to do a doctorate at York, looking at constructions of imperial masculinity in the works of Joseph Conrad and Rudyard Kipling.
Right.
And thankfully I didn't get funded for that, so I could start slagging off Cristiano Ronaldo.
That'd be a good one now. That'd be a good one now.
I mean, I know your story and you know my story, Barry. I mean, I presume everybody listening does. I don't know, but you can do a minute.
I entered a journalism competition run by a magazine in Ireland called Hot Press, kind of like the NME, but with more broader range of entertainment, not just music and politics and literature and stuff. And I won it, and part of the prize was a commission to write 4 articles for them. I wrote the 4 articles, and they offered me a job, and that's how I got into journalism.
You'll all remember me reading the news on BBC Radio Cambridgeshire, and then going to report on dog shit. I mean, I've literally reported once for BBC London on dog shit as someone was picking up a dog shit with their bare hands and me saying, I'm from the BBC. What are you going to do? No, he'd left it and I went, what are you going to do with that? And then he picked it up with his bare hands. So that's real local radio. It's absolute peak. So yeah,
how do you hear that? How do you hear that sound? Was it
you got to paint pictures with words, Seb.
Absolutely.
Radio Cambridgeshire for 3 years, did the longest ever radio show in a shopping centre for them, 6 days. Took me longer to get it than I held it because a guy in Slovenia started on the Wednesday. Went to BBC London, worked a bit with Danny Baker, who was brilliant. Was sort of like, eventually got the overnight show for a bit, which was mad. And then got the breakfast show, was sacked for not being famous, replaced by my nemesis, Paul Ross. Went to Talk Sport to do current affairs show, then got Soccer AM, got lucky. Did that for 7 years, etc., etc. Here we all are. Matthew says, Matt here in Melbourne. I'm an annoyed England fan, wondering if you've seen any good films lately. I'm hoping for a good palate cleanser on Monday when I go see The Odyssey. Okay. What's a good film you've seen recently? Man of Culture, Jonathan Wilson.
I think the last film I saw just before I came out to the US or to Mexico was The English Patient.
All right.
Which I have to say I enjoyed enormously. I know it has a reputation as being slow, but I did not find it slow. I thought it was excellent.
Is that the one that Frank LaBeouf's in? Or is that...
No,
that's which one's he?
It's a great cast.
No, that's the FIFA film from 1998.
No, not the FIFA film.
No, is he in Lucy? He's in Lucy. Is it Lucy?
He's in a film with. Is it the Stephen Hawking film?
It is. Yeah, no, you're right.
And he's
the Turing film, isn't it?
Is it The Theory of Everything? I can't remember. There's a point where someone's in a hospital bed and Frank LaBeouf is the doctor, and half the cinema are going, "It's Frank LaBeouf," and the other half are like just watching a general French actor. A Theory of Everything confirmed. Barry, a film recommendation.
Oh, I don't watch films very often. I just watch TV shows, box sets. But
you don't have to recommend one.
I'm really struggling to think of the last.
Don't worry. I'll go to John.
John, I'll recommend one.
Okay, Seb.
Oh, sorry,
okay,
you go,
Seb.
John. Sorry, yeah.
You go. No, Seb.
I watch a lot of films, but I tend to sort of go back rather than see the new stuff. I mean, I do see stuff at the cinema. I would say besides Jurassic Park, I'd recommend that to Jonathan Wilson. Besides that, I do Sunset Boulevard because I saw it for the first time.
Yeah.
And it's from early 50s. Absolutely fantastic. That and 12 Angry Men. And I say this because a lot of people might have heard of these films but wouldn't have seen them, but it is worth it for a modern audience even now. They have not dated at all, these films, and they're very relevant. So,
do you know whose favourite film is Sunset Boulevard?
Tell me.
Bielsa?
Is it Enzo Fernandez?
No. In fact, I haven't. It's this guy.
Can't see it.
Donald Trump.
Donald Trump's favourite film is Sunset Boulevard. So yeah,
does make sense actually.
Yes. I suppose he shows it all the time at Mar-a-Lago. Anyway, my on the plane over, I watched Casablanca. Doesn't get much better than that. I also watched Full Metal Jacket. As another recommendation, this is one of my very favourite films. 70s crime drama, The Friends of Eddie Coyle, starring Robert Mitchum. Absolutely sensational, set in Boston. Fantastic film.
You've got to watch all these films, and then you've completed films. Jurassic Park, Cool Runnings, Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, Enemy of the State. Done.
Three of those from the same year. Three of those are from the same year, aren't they?
I'm stuck in the 90s. There are some good actual ones that make you think, like The Lives of Others, and Life is Beautiful. Really, if Enemy of the State's on, I'm just watching. Come on, Will Smith. Come on, Gene Hackman. You can do it. Chris says, why does the pod have a producer and an executive producer? Does the exec stand behind the regular producer, shouting at him and hitting them with a big stick until they get it right? Look, there's people who have to listen.
This is a very good question. I also want to know the answer to this one.
They have to. I would say that, for the tape, because we're recording this during the World Cup, that the team here, Joel Grove, Rory Simon, Matt Bentley-Viney, plus all the people back at base, have done. The amount of work they do is absolutely extraordinary to make us just prat about and look vaguely presentable and sound vaguely presentable. So, yes, you need one to do all the nuts and bolts and one to listen back to check that they've put all the nuts, haven't missed out a nut and bolt. And especially when Philippe's on, another one to check that we aren't going to get sued by everybody in the whole world. So they are worth their weight in gold. But thank you for the question. And that'll do for today. Thanks, everybody. Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Thanks, Baz.
Thank you.
Cheers, Wilson.
Cheers, thank you.
And thank you, Seb.
Thank you, Max.
Football Weekly is produced by Rory Simon and Matt Bentley-Viney. Our executive producer is Joel Grove, and we'll be back next week, I guess, when the season begins.